drive to the west of the capital city, Tokyo, in Japan's most historic racing circuit. This track dates back to the late 1960s and has been a staple on the World Endurance calendar for almost every season, barring 2 years of COVID denial. We're back in Fuji for round 7 of 8 of the World Championship. Only the 8 hours of Bahrain remain after Sunday's race here in Japan to tie up all of our championships. Now, there's work going on at the 77 Proton Ford camp because well, this is a great view, actually, of what an LMGT3 car looks like. The centre section is largely production car body shell, but as you can see before and behind, it is a purpose-built racing prototype. There's the engine and subframe waiting to go in after Ben Tuck had a terminal engine failure. In old car terms, it threw a leg out of bed. A conrod went through the bottom of the engine during the free practice session quite early on, and unfortunately there is no time to fit a new engine before we get into the qualifying session. So we'll be down to 17 cars in qualifying. The 77 Ford will not go out. So parish notices done with. Those guys will work on that. As you can see, the whole thing goes into the subframe at the front, suspension attached, and all goes on as one unit. We have, however, 17 cars ready to go out. We have myself, Martin Haven, in the booth with Graham Goodwin and Darren Turner down in the pit lane, Shay Adam and Bruce Giuani to bring us all the action from what is an increasingly warm Fuji Speedway. Some of the morning cloud clearing away. Air temperature now up into the mid-20s and track temperature down close to 40 degrees, quite a lot hotter than it was today. So for free practice, not as hot though as it was yesterday, so it shouldn't probably produce too much of a problem for the teams, I'd have thought.
No, they should have a good idea from yesterday's running. Obviously it's sort of bang in the middle, isn't it, of what we were running yesterday in FP1 and FP2, and then this morning's session of FP3. The temperature sort of just bang right central in that. So yeah, they're going to have a bit of a guessing game coming into qualifying on tyre pressures, but they should have enough knowledge to get that in the window.
And Graham Goodwin, sorry, we're going out with all of our bronze-graded drivers in LMGT3 first of all.
Yeah, first thing to say really is, remember, 2 sessions in this Hyperpole qualifying session here for 12 minutes with the bronze drivers. Ben Keating here, the only WC driver to win. Just missed the point of doing it there. It's certainly one of the most successful bronze drivers we've had in the history of this championship.
Yeah, pole position both in LMGT3 and GTE AM as well.
Point I was about to make is, if you're following this either with our graphics on screen or online, then keep an eye on who's not going through into the second session. Yeah. We'll talk more about later, but now we're going to go for a look around the track with Darren Turner.
So an incredible circuit, Fuji, and obviously one of the driver's favourite, 4.5 kilometres. The big run down to turn 1, it's very tricky, high speed on approach, downhill. It'll be a big problem at the beginning of the race when the tyres aren't up to temperature. Turn 2 is just a kink, it's all about keeping it flat through there, and obviously it gets a bit tight with traffic, but the next best corner actually on the circuit, fast left. Turn 3, but the tricky one is actually the exit of turn 5 into 6. Do you compromise the exit of 5 to get a better line through turn 6 and the run down to turn 10? So that's sector 2. Sector 3, probably the most challenging sector of the whole year, actually. It's a combination of off-camber corners, 13, 14, 15 in particular being very tricky, and the final corner, turn 16, onto the big main straight, start-finish straight, but that's a lap of Fuji, very quick and very fast.
Final sector, Darren, a number of drivers use the name of a famous Disney character to describe it.
Do they?
Mickey Mouse.
All right.
But I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, you can see from the track layout, it used to be basically one big, long, parabolic curve that took them onto the main straight. But now it's very tight and twisty and in total contrast to the rest of the lap.
You're saying that, I mean, that was 3 years of Alan English described. I have no idea what he's saying for any of those 3 years. That's what he was saying. But no, Alan famously used to describe it as the Mickey Mouse circuit. LMGT3 tyres, it is the Eagle Medium. The Medium Plus is not on offer. It's a single choice of, if you can call that a choice, of slick tyre from Goodyear. And the wets, of course, are available should the weather tomorrow prove to be worse than we're expecting. We are expecting maybe some light drizzle.
It's the sort of choice your mum gave you at tea time, isn't it? Take it or leave it. Yeah. So yes, medium tyres go on, and it is the same for everybody. There is maybe a little bit of paddock chat saying it would be nice, like in Hypercar, to have a strategic option of having two differing tyre choices at each race, and who knows, maybe that might come about, but that would, I think actually for the first couple of years of a new formula like LMGT3, there was enough to be going on with. Now I think the teams are on top of their cars enough that they might be starting to go, okay, now what can we do to sort of make the racing a little bit more unpredictable?
Well, there's a budgetary implication, isn't there? Because you're having to carry double the number of tyres around to accommodate the potential for everybody to make one or the other choice. Just to complete the point, though, we've got just under 3.5 minutes down to the green flag. It will be the bronze drivers in LMGT3, 17 cars to take to the track, that will take to the track for this first 12-minute session. So we're listening to what's going on with the 87 Lexus, part of a resurgent effort from Qatar's ASP.
Okay, but be aware, track is way warmer than this morning, so you
3 minutes.
Adjust the tire temp and pressure quite quicker than this morning.
So there in the green helmet, Petru Umbrorescu, the Romanian driver in that 78 Lexus, the 87 car, 78 driven by his teammate Arnaud Robin. And again, everybody lining up as we get ready to go into the session. Drivers getting pinged for speed limits before FP3 started. So at every stage of proceedings, you do need to keep an eye on your speed in the pit lane.
You do. I'll reiterate one more time before we go green. What you're looking for in this session is not necessarily the fastest, it's the slowest. It is the bottom 8 cars, one of which we know is not going to be in this session, the 77 Ford Mustang. So 7 cars will be eliminated, and we will not see the silver driver who will take part in the Hyperpole session to follow.
So 12 minutes on the clock, and Darren, that's loads of time.
Well, it can be actually, because ultimately you're only going to have a lap or two with the peak from the tyre. We had that, obviously, that radio communication, and it's very interesting because of the fact that this morning they're probably thinking actually lap 3, lap 4, if the temperatures stayed the same, would have been the best lap for the tyres coming in. But now it could be lap 2, lap 3 before we see the time starting to drop away, if they get it all together in all the sectors. What you tend to see with the bronze session, though, is the laps tend to come a little bit later because they just take a bit more time to sort of string it all together. So we could be seeing that, although the optimum performance from the tyre may be a bit earlier, the actual drivers getting it all together might be a bit later in the session.
Maybe one of the advantages of having that tight and twisty final sector is the car's currently going from side to side all the time. That's helping to build up load and build up temperature before you get onto the straight. So that might be a little factor as well. So a minute to go until qualifying. We will hear from our race director right now.
1 minute. 1 minute. Under 1 minute to start LMGT3 qualifying session. Please remind drivers of the need to adhere to track limits. Thank you.
So at the pit out, it's the 2 McLarens, and they're sitting in the B pits, the second row of pits towards pit out. First time they've had that placement, gives them a lot of room to manoeuvre, occupying 4 pit garages, United Autosports McLarens, after their win at Cota. So they're on a bit of a high.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Under 30 seconds to open pit lane. We are under 30 seconds to open pit lane.
It definitely feels a much warmer place this afternoon. The cloud has burned off, and the track temperatures are a lot higher.
LMGT3 qualifying session will start in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. LMGT3 qualifying session has started.
You can tell that's a real Rolex, can't you, the way that the second hand moves, the minute hand moves. Away we go then. So 17 cars will go out. There's nobody subtracted from the entry list. 77, though, will not go out. Was due to be driven by Bernardo Souza. He was looking fairly disappointed as we chatted during the autograph session. It was a 30-minute autograph session and pit walk this morning, which was very heavily subscribed. There'll be another one tomorrow as well for another 10,000 or whatever fans managed to cram in. But now it's all about focusing on tyre temperature down, and I suppose to a degree brake temperature as well, because even if your tyres are great, if your brakes are stone cold at the end of the first straight, you're going to be not putting in the best lap.
You've got to bring everything up together, even gearbox temperature. Obviously, engine, it's a bit easier to do in the garage, just preheat and everything, but things like the gearbox, you need to get that up to temperature as well, and just make sure pressures and oil and everything is optimal for a quick lap round here.
It's an interesting shot. I've never really noticed that there's a sort of tier down the pit lane.
Track position's going to be critical though, isn't it? You see some cars are keen, as soon as it goes green they want to get out on track and be the first one, but some are still in pit lane waiting for the opportunity to go out. And what you're absolutely dreading as a driver, you come round on the beginning of your flying lap and you start seeing people coming out of the pit lane hoping they're not going to get in your way.
So first push lap will be, might even be this lap, and that might be a real issue, because as you say, people are still coming gradually out of the pit lane. One car already under investigation for pit lane speed limits, and that unfortunately is Andrew Gilbert in the Iron Lynx Mercedes.
Well, here comes James Cottingham, but second out the pits was the other McLaren, but that's dropped back in that order. Didn't look as if therefore there was quite the opposite, finding space. So whether or not Darren Young had a bit of a moment, I don't know. But he's got back in the order here, so it is one McLaren at the lead of the order, ahead of the Monza first form car of Ryan Hardwick.
And that is the championship leading car with his teammates Richie Leitz and Ricardo Pera. They have a 19-point advantage in the championship, with 25 points for the race win here, 26 including pole position. So with Bahrain thrown in at points and a half, total of 65 points still on offer. The championship leaders have 95 points, so mathematically even Eduardo Barrichello and Valentin Asseclo, who are 13th in the standings, could be champions. And the McLaren has come back into the garage that was taken out by Darren Leung, and that has come right back in. Meanwhile, first warming lap. We might well end up with two of these just to allow the team to get a handle on who's where and to make some space. Tom van Rompuy at 81, Ben Keating 33.
Very first ever LMGT3 pole sitter Tom van Rompuy in the 81 Corvette at Qatar last year. Showing better form this season as well, the TF Sport Run cars.
Runs out extremely wide, Darren, right out by the edge of the curb and the marbles, trying to V off the corner and give himself more of a straight.
Yeah, you can tell when they're on to a build lap or finishing a build lap and getting onto a fast lap, but just by that last corner on the line that they're taking onto the start-finish straight. So now it's maximum attack. But it looks like everyone's gone for the one lap build, so out lap, one lap build, and now a push lap on the second one.
Ben Keating pinged at the beginning of, or the middle of the last lap, so that won't count. Not that it is going to be a particularly quick one.
Yeah, that's frustrating, isn't it, to get track limits when it's on a build lap.
Well, I think that might well have been where he was sort of, just experimenting with how cold and how grippy the tyres might have been.
Cottingham pushing now, though, aboard the 59 car, sister car having stopped at the end of that opening lap to change tyres. McLaren very much on the up, win at Cota after the post-race penalty for the 54 Ferrari. Our first ever win in the World Championship on the WEC for the Woking UK-based brand.
Yeah, had their first podium in Brazil last year, their first pole. They had their front row lockout there as well this season.
Ben Keating aboard the number 33 Corvette, pushing on.
Yeah, this needs to be a clean lap. Ben Keating's had quite a lot of laps deleted over the season of qualifying, and a clean lap is really important. Below the red line then, well, Ahmed Al-Hati's 46 BMW has just jumped out of it, and that's left the Lexus of Arnaud Robin below the red line, as Petru Umberescu goes fastest of all in his Lexus.
We're about to see the real pace in this session this time around. James Cottingham 1:41.1. What could Ryan Hardwick do to respond to that? The answer is he's 6.5 tenths off that total. So Cottingham in the number 59 car, tops the times until Ben Keating now goes through by, what is that, 36 thousandths of a second, with Tom Van Rompuy just a further 3 hundredths behind. Top three separated by 0.061 of a second.
And at the moment, everybody below that elimination zone line outside the top 10 haven't yet set a representative quick lap. So we saw Ahmed El-Hati was fourth on his sort of first warming lap, and he's now down to 12th place. There's Ian James in the Heart of Racing Aston, the car that was fastest of all in FP3. And in fact, the Heart of Racing, problems for Francois Heriot.
I think that was the 54, wasn't it?
I beg your pardon, yes, it was.
That's Thomas Fleur, I think, in that car. But yet, Heart of Racing topping FP3, and the sister car topping Hypercar. So the first time ever we've seen that team top both classes, just outside. James Cottingham and Ian James on identical times, second and third, and because James set it first.
Ooh, Thomas Fleur, little touch on the barriers, probably hasn't done too much damage, and actually he needs to keep going. James Cottingham going quicker again, purple sector 1, green sector 2, here he is, riding the curbs on the exit. That was clean enough, so this should put him to the top of the pile, and this will not change the lead, well, it'll change the lead group, but it won't change who's in the top 10.
That's the point now, 5 minutes to go. James Cottingham will go quickest, under 141. Now we switch attention to who's not in the top 10. At the moment, both the Lexus on home ground, the second United Autosports McLaren, the Iron Dames Porsche, the number 31 BMW, and the number 46 BMW as well. So both the BMWs out, and the 54 car we saw in trouble there from Vista Air Corsa, with the Proton 77 Mustang not taking part in the session after that engine problem in FP3.
Well, Arnaud Raban has just jumped into the top 10 and pushed out Stefano Gattuso in the 88 Mustang. 87 Lexus on a better lap. Everybody's on a better lap at the moment, apart from Ahmed El-Hati, who's gone yellow, slower in Sector 1. His teammate Yasser Shaheen is in the 10, and that means Andrew Gilbert is out in the 60 Mercedes.
The gaps are tiny between pass and fail, if you like, here. 4 minutes to go. A couple of laps to still do it. Here comes Ian James through. Tony McIntosh for his second run this season in the other Aston Martin, the Racing Spirit Le Mans car. What can they both do?
Well, they'll both stay in the top 10. Andrew Gilbert is out. Stefano Gattuso is out. Celia Martin, 85 Porsche, the Iron Dames car, is out. Petru Umbrarescu, Darren Leung yet to improve. Ahmed El-Hati and Thomas Fleur. So the one Mustang is in. Gattuso has jumped up, and that means Martin Berry, this man we ride on board in the 61 Mercedes, he's been bumped out as well. And so too, Ahmed El-Hati bumps out Yasser Shaheen and is now in the drop zone himself in the 46 BMW.
Now dropping below the line, Ryan Hardwick in the number 92 car. Championship implications from that car, with every point gained and lost. 3 minutes to go. So both BMWs, both Iron Lynx AMGs, one of the Lexus, the Iron Dames Porsche, and the 54 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari still in the danger zone.
I think Hardwick's got a bit more performance. That lap that just popped him into P9 was all yellow sectors as well, so it wasn't even his best lap at any point. So I'm sure he's on a green sector, first sector now, so I'm sure he'll be in a better position by the end of this lap.
Watching Yasser Shaheen, what can he do? He's down there in 12th place, needs to pick up some more. He's not done so, and it's going to be 1-2 more laps, depending on where they are on this lap. Here comes Martin Berry. What can he do? Not good enough for the AMG man.
BMW Ahmed El-Hati should move up. This is a better lap from him all round. The 46 car carries the colours of Valentino Rossi. And Rossi will get in if they make it through into Hyperpole. At the moment, neither BM is in, neither Mercedes is in. One of the Porsches is out. But here comes El-Hati.
And this is to see whether or not he can force the second Lexus back into the drop zone. It's Arnaud Raban in the 78 car, as the 27 Aston Martin pits will do no more in this session. Fourth quickest in the session. Here comes the 46, El-Hati.
He'll have another chance at the line. He moves up. So he's up into ninth. Yeah. Umbrarescu, 13th, not an improvement. Thomas Fleur, this should be an improvement for the Ferrari driver. Is it going to be enough to take him from 16th into the top 10? There's Arnaud Robin. Thomas Floor in sector 3. Tight and twisty stuff after that spin.
Crossing the line now.
9/10 back, so he is in, and Ahmed El Harti is out. Both BMWs, both Lexus, both Mercedes, and the Iron Dames are out at the moment.
So Thomas Floor is improving on this lap again. So too is Ahmed El Harti. He's first in the drop zone. So too is Arnaud Robin in the number 78 Ducati CSP Lexus. He's in the drop zone. So the home place of the hometown cars from the Cota CSP, the Lexus cars, both at the moment not going to make it through. Need to do it now.
Ahmed El Harti, 0.08 of a second out of the top 10.
Certainly with that middle sector, it doesn't look like he's going to be improving on this lap at all. So I think that's going to be P11 at the flag. But let's wait and see what happens.
Yeah, Yasser Shaheen in 31, a yellow first sector, so not even better in sector 1. Now Harty's going to need to find something in sector 2. Andrew Gilbert 16th. Everybody at the end of the checkered flag, below 10th, that's where they will start on the grid, barring any penalties.
There comes Gilbert. Is there going to be improvements?
Doesn't need much, doesn't get enough. And Yasser Shaheen in the 31 BMW, the Benz machine. He's bailed on that one.
Watching Martin Berry as well as we watch Yasser Shaheen in this car. But, don't think Yasser is on. He's not on a quick lap.
He absolutely wasn't coming down the hill to turn 10. Martin Berry, yellow sector 1, yellow sector 2, so no improvement. So he'll come into the pits on this one. So disappointment there. The man in the hat, the boss of the WRT team. Vincent Vos looking a little bit disappointed with that.
One still to watch here. Martin Berry, possible, might just do it.
Yellow sector 1 and yellow sector 2 seems highly unlikely.
But keep an eye. Thomas Floor, by the way, under investigation for an unsafe rejoin after that spin earlier in the session.
Well, that might be a bit of salvation from Ahmed El Harti if Floor picks up a penalty or loses a lap time for it. There is only 800s between Floor and El Harti.
Martin Berry, by the way, it was no improvement for him. And
yes.
Both Lexus are out of this session. So too the 46 Team WRT BMW. Iron Lynx is 61 and 60 AMG don't make it. So both BMWs, both AMGs, both Lexus, the Iron Dames Porsche and the Proton Competition 77 that was not in this session.
Ben Keating wasn't looking very happy about something there, and I'm not sure what. 2 McLarens, 2 Corvettes, 2 Aston Martins, 2 Ferraris, 1 Ford, 1 Porsche. So often this season, we've seen almost one car from each manufacturer and a couple of doubles up. But here, actually, they've almost broken down sort of make by make, where neither Lexus, neither Mercedes, neither whatever didn't get in. And here you've got both McLarens, both Corvettes, both Astons, both Ferraris. The second Porsche didn't get in. But it's interesting that they seem to be a little bit more lining up 2 by 2 almost by make.
More stratified, use that word, but you're absolutely right. It has been much more of a mix-up. And I think what it shows here is these teams as a whole are getting to understand a lot more about the potential in these packages. That's the bronze drivers done. It will be silver drivers next for the Hyperpole session. Then it gets serious. Then we look to the top of the times.
Well, we saw Ben Keating get a little bit excited there, chatting to the team at TF Sport who run those Corvettes. Bruce Ioannio is down there. Keating's done his job. His car has gone through.
Very well done, Ben, driving the number 33 Corvette. You've done the job, and now it's Johnny's turn to try to qualify well. Do you think you can make it to pole?
I don't know. I would have said it would have been a big challenge for us to get into Hyperpole, but I have to hand it to the team. The car is much better now than it has been. I think we've been second to last in every session so far, and so we weren't feeling super confident going in, but the car is really good right now.
The track maybe came to you because both cars are passing through Hyperpole.
Yes, it's true. The whole team has worked very well to get the cars up here. Now we'll get to see what Johnny can do in the 33. Fingers crossed.
Let's go have a watch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, the 33 Corvette are race winners in the season opener in Qatar, but this is the third time they've actually made it through into Hyperpole. They didn't get into Hyperpole at all before we got to Sao Paulo. That was their first appearance in the top 10, so now Johnny Edgar, their silver-graded driver, he gets to have a go as well.
Remember the factor, though, that the team will remind you of, because they led the championship, that carries with it success ballast. Once they drop down into the lower end of the lead gap in points terms, they lose that little bit of ballast, and the car's coming back to them.
They're third in points. They're not that far off.
And that is the point. That is the point.
Yeah.
So, about to see the silver drivers, the remaining 10 cars in LMGT3. So we sort of turned this session up to 11. It's a 10-minute session, slightly shorter for these drivers.
It's all, get an indication now of why it's so hard to read what's going on in free practice. FP3, where were the Ferraris? They were absolutely nowhere. And yet, here they are, both through into Hyperpole. So sometimes you see a team that seems totally off the pace, but that's because they're just doing long runs, checking fuel and all the other stuff, while others are going quicker. Don't forget, if you are watching this online or via a linear broadcast on your TV set, you can go to FIAWEC.tv, and a free subscription will give you all of our full access programs that you can see later after they're released to WCTV. On the YouTube channel. Don't forget, our full access from Austin is available now, and a great look behind the scenes with extra footage that you never get to see live on air, and some of the a little bit more understanding often plays in to what goes on. So 2.5 minutes before the green flag, 46 BMW going back into the garage. Neither of those cars made it through.
That's because no further investigation required for the unsafe release into the 54 car, and another investigation underway to 33. So we've got the 10 cars going through now into the Hyperpole session as they were on timing at the end of the previous session. Not something we had last race, but it keeps it nice and clean and tidy, doesn't it? Now the pressure comes. It'll be Francesco Castellacci in this car then, the 54.
I'm now thinking of things that I should have done before we came on air, which is look to see where the 54 car qualified last year. So Graham can do that while we while we contemplate the view from above.
Well, we should remind viewers that the 54 car, in its long history in the FIA World Endurance Championship, has won 3 times, always here.
Yeah. There's Thomas Floor. He's done his bit. Davide Rigon, first to the line last time out in Austin, Texas. But Rigon just a bit over-ambitious in the hairpin, leading onto the back straight, trying to get through the leading group of cars. In fact, trying to pass the lead Mustang, which was on wets as he was on slicks. The track had finally come to the slick runners in about the last 5 minutes. Made contact with the Mustang, and unfortunately, as a result, they lost their win. They did end up third. So heading into Hyperpole then for our LMGT3 drivers.
We'll tell you, by the way, the 54 ninth.
Under 1 minute to start LMGT3 Hyperpole. We are under 1 minute to start LMGT3 Hyperpole.
9th place on the grid. All right, well, they got into Hyperpole as well last year. Let's see what they can do this time out.
It's a sister car on pole last year, the 55. And that is in the order here too. Now it's the 21, of course, no longer 55.
30 seconds, under 30 seconds.
Kelvin van der Linde, it's a big surprise for fans all around the world that neither BMW made it through to the Hyperpole, but having a fast qualifying car is not as important as having a fast race car. So do you have the race pace?
I think we have our chances. Unfortunately, now it got a lot hotter than it did in FP3. We felt quite good on the long run in FP3, but it was almost 20 degrees cooler in terms of track temperature. So depending on how hot it gets tomorrow in the race, we'll see. Maybe we have some chances, but we'll give it our best, that's for sure.
You've been there and thereabouts in so many of the races, coming alive at the end. What is it about this car that just seems to really find its stride at the end of these races?
Well, the BMW comes alive when there's more grip on track, so naturally towards the end of the longer races, with the rubber coming down, our car gets in a better window, and that's why we've seen that trend of us getting close to the front as the race goes on, so hopefully more of the same tomorrow.
Good luck to you and the whole 46 crew.
Thanks so much.
Well, there'll be plenty of 46 attire in the grandstands. The Japanese fans have a great love of their motorsport. Very used to dressing up in the suits of their heroes. I was just down at the autograph session earlier on. Kevin Magnussen was signing a World Series by Renault race suit that he once drove in, that a fan had brought along. So that's the kind of the usual models and t-shirts and all the other stuff, but Kevin signing his old race suit, and the rest of the team was saying to him, "Did you give that away then?" "I don't know. Don't know how he's got it." There you go. So everybody now out of the pit lane, all 10 cars out on track. 12 generous minutes in qualifying, but only 10 minutes on the clock in Hyperpole. So you have to make even more certain that every corner counts. And Darren Turner, the advantage now is the car is hot, and although the tyres are cold, there's heat in the brakes, and that helps to control the car when the driver's pushing, but also helps to bring heat into the wheels and into the tyres as well.
There's less of an issue for the second driver going out, because the cars have all been in pit lane. They've had the new tyres put on for the Hyperpole, and that heat soak from all the brakes have now sort of preheated the tyres and the wheels before the session. So these tyres should come in a lot quicker than the tyres that the bronze drivers had in the first session. So it may be that people start pushing on the absolute first lap after the out lap, or they still carry on and try and do a first build lap to push on the second lap. And looking at the lap times from earlier on, I mean, James was a little bit different, Cottingham with the McLaren. He sort of put some good sectors together towards the end of the run. So like lap 5, 6, he was still able to find some time, but it could be with the silver drivers, they're expected to put the performance in earlier on in the session, so maybe lap 2, lap 3.
I love these onboard views, particularly when the car isn't with traffic, because you get that sound of what the driver's doing. Every gear shift, the way he's using the throttle. So James Cottingham first out in the McLaren. Sean, hang on a minute. Oh, it was Darren Leung in the first session, yes. Yeah, sorry. Thinking, hang on, Sean Gallale went out in the first session. That doesn't seem right. Sean Gallale in the 95 car that he's taken over from Darren Leung. In the 59 car is Sebastian Boe. So Sean Gallale getting on it early. The Indonesian driver. Ricardo Pera in the 92 Manthey First Form Porsche. That's the turquoise car that leads the championship. He's gone purple in Sector 2. Francesco Castellacci, a stalwart in 54, and he's on a decent looking lap as well. So who is going to come out on top? Well, first to set a competitive time will be 95. Sean Gallale will probably have another lap, or maybe 2, Darren, to try and improve on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a particularly fast one, so still a build lap, so it does look like, certainly for the McLaren, they're going for the second lap as the sort of the first of their qualifying attempts.
Ricardo Pera top of the pile. He's been looking down in the Spirit of Racing Spirit of Le Mans garage, a pensive Rubens Barrichello watching his son in car number 10. Francesco Castellacci, 54 car. Right, so that's currently 7th. Zachary Robichon, 27, the heart of racing, the blue Aston Martin.
But even these sector times aren't particularly well. That's the first one. That's it. Both the Astons have now gone on the first lap, so those sector times are good. These are the first of the real laps and not build laps.
That's interesting, isn't it, that both Astons going strong early on, and does that imply that they might be just finding a bit more heat in their tyres? And is that going to cost them then later on in the second stint on the tyre? As Rubens watching his son.
And they were the last 2 cars in the pits for this session, so they were looking for space to do that early.
And that also means that the car was perhaps just a few degrees hotter than anybody else's, and that might be a little bit of working into their favour as well. 95, Sebastian, 95 Sean Gallale, 59 Sebastian Boe.
So different approaches to this session, so it's going to be topsy-turvy again.
Yep.
Certainly the middle order.
Two McLarens with the first form Manthey Porsche in between them. Ricardo Pera sort of hidden there behind the first of the McLarens. He stays third.
Here comes Sebastian Boe. Stays fifth.
So not an improvement.
Aaron Young looks on with his young son. Little Aldridge where the battleground is.
Fifth and sixth, the two TF Sport Corvettes.
Barrichello is on an absolute flyer here, and this will be, if he's pulled this final sector together, under 140.
Now we could be then looking at our first two-time pole sitting car of the season, because Eduardo put it on pole in Sao Paulo, and he is on pole at the moment. There's Ricardo Pera in the Manthey first form car that leads the championship.
But bled some time away in that final sector, Darren. Is that an indication that tyre is going away this early, surely?
No, I think in that, well, maybe at the beginning of the final sector, he passed 27, the heart of racing car, so maybe that was the thing that just cost him a little bit of time. Obviously 27 had a track limit in sector 2, so they've backed off just to get a bit of clear run and give it another shot now.
Next one to watch is going to be Sean Galale, just a little while, but Ricky Pera, Sebastian Boe, both on quick times for a purple middle sector for the 95 McLaren.
There's Galale. Yeah, saw Richie Pera hopping over that curb in the inside of turn 10, was walking through there with some of the Corvette racing guys. They went, wow, there's a sump remover of a curb. That's a great expression. It's big and very high. Sean Galale currently 9th. Is this going to be a front row starting time? 12/100ths of a second faster than anybody else. That's the fastest car. Pera does not improve. He remains third. No, he drops down to 5th now. Sebastian Boe comes across the line. So it is McLaren 1-2, Aston Martin 3-4. Look, they really are lining up 2 by 2.
By 2,000ths of a second between the two McLarens. 140.011 for Sean Galale, 0.13 for Sebastian Boe. You almost literally can't get much closer than that. But watch Barrichello, because he could well leapfrog both of them with this lap. He's on a flyer now, crosses the line.
30 thousandths faster. So 30 thousandths first to second, 32 thousandths down to third. Not sure who looks more nervous there, Rubens Barrichello or Valentin Asseclo, who was sitting on the chair hugging his knees.
So close. And Sebastian Boe in particular on the lap he's on right now is very much on that pole pace. 34 thousandths off after the first sector. Needs to have a very good middle sector here to claw it back to the right side. Hasn't done so. Keeping an eye though, by the way, gentlemen, on the form of the 10th place car at the moment. Keep an eye on the graphics are showing us Sebastian Boe and Johnny Edgar. Francesco Castellacci is right on pole pace on this lap.
Johnny Edgar is the only one who's really improving. 2 green sectors, Sebastian Boe 2 yellow sectors. Yellow is slower than your best previous lap. Green is your best previous lap. Purple is the best of everyone. So Boe does not improve. 32 thousandths back. 2/10ths back.
This could be the lap from Johnny though.
Yep. Well, it moves him up 1 spot ahead of Gianmarco Leverato, and Leverato pushed down another spot as well as the 81 car moves up with Rui Andrade at the wheel.
It's that final sector again that is bleeding time out of these efforts all the way down. This is looking very good indeed for Eduardo Barrichello.
Is Robichon going to make it a front row lockout for the Aston Martin team? We've had 2 front row lockouts this season. McLaren have done it, Mustang did it. Aston Martin do not do it. That's it, 22 seconds left. They can do another timed lap. I think only Francesco Castellacci has got anything left in the tank. Zachary Robichon. There's Ricardo Pera.
So we're looking for Ricardo Pera. Watch him at Francesco Castellacci. He is marginally up on pole pace after sector 1. It's green sector for him, but it's quicker than the first sector for Eduardo Barrichello.
Yeah, Ricardo Pera, we saw Ryan Hardwick watching on from the garage. Not a good first sector, good second sector. Has he got enough in the tight and twisty stuff to make a difference?
Castellacci quicker than he's been before, but he's dropped time to the pole sitter on that second sector. Barrichello takes the checkered flag. Here comes Ricky Berra from now 5th. Is there anything more from him?
No, he's gone into the pit lane. It's all down to Francesco Castellacci. Is Ferrari going to break the Barrichello heart?
He just lost the back end of the car there, Darren.
Yeah.
That was a twitch, wasn't it? Final corner on the downshift, just losing the back end, losing that momentum through the final corner.
Started 9th last year. They're currently 7th. Isn't it improvement from Francesco Castellacci? Long run to the line, 8/10 back, no improvement. So they remain in 8th place. 2nd and 3rd on the grid for the McLaren team, but it is pole for the 2nd time this season for the number 10 Aston Martin.
Great effort from Tony McIntosh and a fabulous effort at the end there from Edoardo Barrichello. Beginning to start to write pages in the history book of this class, aren't they, this team?
Impressive stuff.
So that's one done for Aston Martin. And heart of, sorry, in this case, Racing Spirit Le Mans. There you go.
If only he'd show some emotion.
Yeah.
I was chatting to Tony McIntosh this morning. I said, is this his first time here? He said, yeah, kind of, but he was here 2 weeks ago in a GT4 Aston doing a little bit of training with D-Station.
I am with Ryan Hardwick, the leader of the championship in GT3. Okay, that's not pole position. There's a lot of joy in the Barrichello family over there. You seemed happy about the result. You're 5th. Is that because you're in front of the Ferraris and the Corvette? And do you already feel some sort of pressure on your shoulders from the championship, being the leaders?
Well, yes and no. You're obviously around the sport because finishing in front of the 21 and the 33 is our primary goal. I mean, we're in this for the championship, and so our eyes are closely on those two cars. Hats off to the Aston Martin guys. I mean, both cars were great, and the McLaren cars, I feel they're in another category. So I feel we were first place of everyone else. So, but we're just looking to have as best result as we can, and hopefully be in front of the 21 and 33 and try to extend that championship lead going into the final round.
Well, Ricky did the job so far, so good luck for the race. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll say, though, that Ricky Perret is under investigation for crossing the pit entry white line. So let's wait and see what's determined there. There is our Hyperpole winner in LMGT3.
Well, whatever else happens, they can't drop lower than 10th because they were faster than 10th in the first session. So even if they lose all their times, they'll still be in the top 10 somewhere. But obviously, the further forward you are, the better it is. They're not... Ryan Hardwick, I mean, what a transformation, moving from the Mustang last year, where he was basically just wringing his hands every weekend going, how do we get this thing to work? And now they're leading the championship. But it is McIntosh, Barrichello and Asa Klo who have taken pole here by 0.03 of a second for Aston Martin.
Darren, so just looking at the celebrations in the garage and Edoardo Barrichello's reaction to that, have been, and then you've seen multitude of young drivers come through and into and through sports car racing. He looks to be on a good trajectory at this point.
Absolutely, absolutely. You see his performance in Brazil, but then to come here and be able to put the car on pole. I mean, it's 0.03 of a second. It could have gone either way from those three cars, the McLarens and the Aston Martin, but a great effort. And yeah, I mean, his performance in Brazil and the way that he came through at the end of the race there, it just shows that he's the real deal, and he's certainly suited to sports car racing.
Hang on a minute, who was our driver expert in Brazil?
Some bloke who used to drive. Oh, hang on a minute.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
Actually, what's even more convincing is that Eduardo in Brazil at least knew the track really well. He's never been to Japan before. Yep. So although his teammate, Tony McIntosh, was here a couple of weeks ago with D-Station learning the track, Eduardo wasn't. You know, he's been here in free practice. That's your lot. So that's, again, really, really impressive. Well, they topped the timing sessions, Aston Martin, with Heart of Racing in FP3. As we get into Hyperpole or Hypercar, are we possibly going to see both of them get through into Hyperpole? Let's go down to the McLaren garage, catch up with Sean Galale.
Sean Galale, when you got out of the number 95 McLaren, you gave a loud yell and you said, I tried, but the crew applauded you. Win the last race, starting this one, P2. You've got a car that clearly can win again.
And I got interviewed by you. So last time we got that, we won. So hopefully hopefully we can do that again. No, I think the guys did an amazing job so far, and I think the turnaround after half of the season, and then we've been, fortunate enough to win in Cota, and then starting in a really good position tomorrow here. So, yeah, it'll be tight with the Astons and also our sister car, but yeah, good job to everyone. I think it was like all in a 10th now, top 3. So, yeah, good job to Eduardo, and hopefully we get them tomorrow.
Do you know where you lost the time on the lap?
I don't know. I think I didn't put my head down enough, or I didn't. It's so close, it could be anywhere, but yeah, you can't really think about it too much and send it tomorrow.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank
You
you.
Sean Gillel is one of those drivers that shows his emotion with his eyes. He's enjoying where he is right now, and it's great to see it. It's not always been him in his comfort zone in his time in the FIA World Endurance Championship. Right now, I think he's in a happy place with where they are with United Autosports and McLaren's.
Yeah, really very much so. And obviously, they're all looking at what's coming down the pipeline in 2027 from McLaren as well, where they will double their presence on the grid as they bring the hypercar team. And that's something that Heart of Racing and Aston Martin have been very aware of this year. It's not just Ian James and his teammates looking inwardly at what's going on with the 27 Aston, but also having a second eye on what's going on with the 2 hypercars. And the hypercars were the fastest cars in the final free practice session, or one of them was the fastest car of all. So Aston Martin have had pace all the way through. Peugeot have had pace all the way through. Whether we're going to be soft tyre or medium tyre, everybody has pretty much opted for the mediums through the higher temperatures of yesterday and again today. Wait and see quite what the race brings us, but there is that option in hypercar on the Michelin tyre to use one of the 2. The yellow sidewalls you see on the Peugeots there, that's the medium tyre. A white sidewall is for colder, cooler conditions, and probably not what anybody's going to be looking at until we get maybe a bit of a cooler, maybe even damper part of the race tomorrow.
We've seen pace in free practice from the Aston Martins, from the Peugeots, we've seen it from the Cadillacs, we've not seen it from the Porsches as yet. Let's wait and see exactly where they are. Where are the Toyotas on home ground going to end up? BMW were looking despondent earlier today. Can they find pace? Some people tipping that car, the Alpine, where might they be? And what about Ferrari? All sorts of questions are going to be answered in about the next 14 minutes, because this is all about which of the 10 cars going through to Hyperpole.
Now, the difference between Hypercar and LMGT3 is there's no restriction on who can do your qualifying in the Hypercar class. Whatever driver grading you are able to do it. Everything else is the same. 12 minutes with all 18 cars, and then the top 10 go through into that 10-minute of Hyperpole.
I can hear you loud and clear, Joe, so I'll give you an update on the conditions, and we'll do the steering wheel check as normal. So at the moment, air temp is 24, track temp is between 33 and 36, depending on how much sun comes out. So this is anywhere from 2 to 5 degrees cooler than FP2 and about 10 degrees warmer than FP3. The GTs have gone 0.3 quicker in Q1 than FP3 and 0.8 quicker now in Q2 with the silver drivers.
So suggesting to Sebastian Buemi there's a little bit more available than maybe when they did their quali sim this morning. So we'll have to wait and see what that produces. All the colour shots could easily be filed under "Tell me we're at a WEC race in Japan" without using the words WEC race or Japan, because there are very few places where the crowd is quite as individual.
30 seconds to open pit lane. We are under 30 seconds to open pit lane for Hypercar qualifying session.
So some cars already in the fast lane queuing for the lights to go green, and some are waiting on the apron.
Hypercar qualifying session starts in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hypercar qualifying has started.
So 12 minutes, and the same, in fact more cars on track here, 18 cars, because all 18 of them we expect to go out, whereas we knew the 77 Mustang would not go out in the LMGT3 session. And Darren, from you know, years ago where it was a full 30 minutes to try and find a lap in a massively congested track of 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 different classes. This is very different indeed.
I prefer it like this. You know, it gives everyone a fair chance of getting a lap, and it sort of reflects truly on the performance of the driver and the team. When you have like multi-class and one session for everyone to sort of participate in, there's too much of a random effect going on at that point. So yeah, I definitely prefer this sort of format of qualifying. It's a purer way of sort of getting the grid together.
Don't forget, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here this weekend, tickets are still available for the season finale in Bahrain. And if you fancy going to a race in 2026, which will be on us long before we're all ready for it, the calendar is now online, so you can look into booking tickets either for North or South America, for the Far East, for the Middle East, or if you live in Europe for one of the European races. Of course, the Mon tickets, when they go on sale, I think you have about 4 nanoseconds to try and buy them before they sell out. But for the other races, for Imola, for Spa, definitely go and look online, because the calendar has been released for 2026.
Yeah, bumped into a couple of British fans, father and son, the Jams from the RWEC Discord channel, and thoroughly enjoyed their massive adventure here. Come and do it. If you've got the time, you've got the resource, come and do it. You will not regret it. Bahrain, a great place to come motor racing, by the way.
It certainly is. If you get the opportunity to go to a race, there was an awful lot of access to drivers and cars that otherwise you might not be used to in other forms of World Championship motorsport. So 18 cars out on track. Everybody has left the pit lane. You can see already that Ria Hirakawa and Fabrizio Giovanardi starting their first push lap. So too has Earl Bamber. Cars are coming around a little quicker than in the LMGT3 field.
I think they're still waiting for the second actual full lap before putting in something representative. It looks like they're all going for the second lap as the full attack lap, and making sure everything's up to temperature for that one. Well, the other interesting thing is, in terms of your driver pairings or some of the cars running 3 drivers, is, okay, do you put your fastest guy in first to try and guarantee that you're going to make it into Hyperpole? I know all these drivers are really super close, but it's an interesting sort of dynamic. It's like, okay, if we've got a car that is easily going to get into the top 10, do you then just go with any driver?
I think it's going to be the same guy in the car for both sessions in this instance, but I think where the battleground is going to be here, I don't know what you think here, Darren, might well be the bottom 3, top 3, above and below the cut line here. I think that's going to be super, super close.
I'm just looking at the times from free practice. It was super
nuts.
close anyway. But then sometimes I'm looking at what was achieved this morning in free practice 3. We were looking at the Porsches and they were right down at the bottom. And maybe they focused yesterday in FP2 with their qualifying sims, as it was more representative in terms of temperature than what we have this morning compared to qualifying now.
Now in free practice 3, the top 15 cars in Hyperpole were covered by 9/10 of a second. So it is going to be massively tough getting into that top 10. And this is the big issue for all of the manufacturers and all of the teams in LMGT3, is that effectively 50% of the field get nothing for their weekend, because only the top 10 get points.
It's a World Championship. I have to say, you hear that.
It shouldn't be easy.
You hear that often as a moan, actually, from various regards. I think it's a fantastic part of where we are right now. What it's doing is it's pushing excellence, and that's what any sport at elite level, motorsport in particular, in my regard, should be. It's pushing to be the very best you possibly can.
James Vantor in the 15 BMW. The 20 car has red, white and yellow on the back, the shell livery. Both of them still weaving. 83 coming towards us. Who's qualifying 83 this afternoon? Robert Kubica.
Yep.
Okay. Oh boy. No lady for there. The 83 was on pole last time out in Cota, courtesy of Phil Hansen. His first ever outright pole that he earned for the car.
1:33.8 was briefly atop the times before Dries Vantor lost that time. 7 minutes to go. We hear one of the Aston Martins come howling by Alpine, Aston, Alpine, Cadillac at the moment. But more than that, it's Ferraris at the bottom half of this order.
Now let's suggest that this will be as tight as full practice then if you're not within 3/4 of a second of the fastest time, you're almost guaranteed not to be in the top 10. So right now, maybe not even the Toyotas will be in. Stoffel Van Dorn in the Peugeot, they were very quick in all practice sessions.
Stoffel goes through, and where's he ended up there? Lost him.
Yeah.
He's still 12th. No, he's not. So apologies, he's gone up into 10th place, but barely in. Ryo Hirakawa, now they're already well into the top 10. What can Ryo Hirakawa pull out this session?
Would be a fantastic fairy tale for Toyota to claim their first pole of the season here in Japan. Never count them out. They might come out with statements like, we'll be lucky to get a point, but they are always such a tough team to compete against.
We're going to talk just for a moment about the top of the order, because Alex Lynn just put in a 1:31.387, way quicker, 4 seconds quicker than anybody else. That's what they're aiming for. But Ryo Hirakawa now coming out the final turn, powering down towards the line. What can he do aboard the number 8 car? 8th quickest at the moment. He'll want a further improvement, and I think he's going to get one.
He goes top in a 1:29.2, a 1:29.49 was the fastest lap in free practice 3, and Alex Lynn's lap was slower than the slowest lap in free practice 3 in Hypercar. So it is Toyota 1-2 and Porsche 3-4. So out at the moment, 009 Aston, out is one of the Alpines. Neither Peugeot has had a properly convincing lap. Neither of the two Ferraris had until Antonio Giovinazzi came across the line. Mikkel Jensen, purple, green, purple, top of the pile.
Yeah, 1:28.989, but it's shuffling all the time. The 007 drops out. So both the Aston Martins drop out the top 10. Under 5 minutes to go. This is where it's getting serious. This, Darren Turner, is when they've got to nail these laps.
Absolutely, and it looks like it's lap 3, lap 4 now in terms of the performance from the car itself, and that's the first lap time under the 1:29 all weekend. So it's certainly the track's coming to the drivers at this point.
Yeah, Marco Sorensen in 009 Aston. We're watching Dries Van Tor. There's Sorensen in front, top of the pile. Dries Van Tor, what's he got? Should be in the top 10 with that lap, half a second back.
And 2 minutes ago, you were talking about Porsche's sitting 3rd and 4th. They're now both out of the top 10.
Malaysi doesn't make it in with that lap. Makovici doesn't make it in with that lap either. But Van der Linde does in the BMW, and out goes the 50 Ferrari. 007 gets close. 0.6 away, so half a second away from the fastest lap is the drop zone. So we've halved the distance among the top 10 from free practice.
Marco Sorensen goes top with a 1:28.935. Let's watch now. Stoffel Van Dorn, Antonio Fuoco, both at the moment needs these laps to count to secure where they're going to be in this order. Are they going to go through to the second session? Because at the moment, neither of them are.
No, and look at where the Toyota has dropped to. Car number 7, Nick de Vries, 0.56 off. He's out. Fuoco, 0.57 off. He doesn't improve. Stoffel Van Dorn doesn't improve enough. He's 10th, but not safe. Now it's 4900s covers the top 10.
Watching all sorts of things going here. Harry Taintle aboard now. He put in a stellar first sector in the number 007 Aston. He's in the zone to improve here. Can he improve enough to lift that car up from 14th into this top 10? Under 3 minutes to go. What's Harry got left in the tank?
Looks like Harry's had to abort the lap. Great two first sectors, but this one's back right off, trying to find a bit of a gap, and then be able to push again for one more attempt.
He's behind Marco Sorensen in the other car.
Charles Malaysi leaps up into the top 5, so he's in. Fred Makovici, no, barely made an impact at all. Stoffel Van Dorn still out of the top 10.
Nick de Vries is on it here. He's sitting 13th, but looking set to improve. Got Kevin Estre on a quick one. Harry Taintle aborted that lap, as we said. So almost 10 seconds off, but in formation at the moment with the sister car.
Now has he moved in front, Marco Sorensen, to give him a tow? Nick de Vries, is he going to be in? Down in 13th place in Toyota number 7.
He's mighty quick. I think he can do it here. De Vries coming towards the line.
Sector 1, not even as good as his previous best lap. So it's not going to be well into the top 10. No, didn't improve. 1.2 seconds off.
Wow. Lost time in that third
Kevin
sector.
Estre in the number 6 Porsche. There's his teammate Lawrence Van Tor watching.
Not going to improve his track limits on this lap. for Kevin Estre. That's not doing improvements.
Well, he only had a green first sector, yellow second sector. I think he's lost the tyre. One of the caddies is coming into the pit lane. They are not entirely safe. Number 9, Earl Bamber, under 4 tenths away, may not be safe. Dries van Tor, yellow sector 1, and a big slide, Darren, for the 15 BMW.
Yeah, that's not going to help with the old trajectory down the main straight. Actually, what was really interesting, Alex Lim was on a flyer of a lap and actually pitted then. You know, he had a purple sector 2, so there's more potential in that Cadillac.
BMW does not make it in. Lawrence Van Tor, I beg pardon, Van der Linde, Sheldon Van der Linde.
6 cars off the track there,
Yeah.
Kevin Estre, huge lock-up.
He was investigated for doing that in free practice.
Nick de Vries is the one to watch here, Martin.
Not really though, is he? He's gone slower in sector 2. So marginally faster in sector 1 than his best, but look what his best has given him so far. He's not improving much on a 13th place lap, unless he's found something supersonic in the final sector.
Watch the final sector. If he can pull that together, which he couldn't last time, he should be into the top 10 with this lap. The same ahead of it with Dries van Tor. He's just outside.
Woco, this is trouble as well. That's nowhere near fast enough across the line. 99 Nico Varone, the Argentine driver, 12 hours from home in terms of time zone. And down at the bottom of the pile, 1.2 seconds away. Van Dorn, can he make it in? He needs to find 0.04 of a second. Yellow first sector, slight improvement in the second, not enough. Come on, how close is it going to be? This is him.
Actually getting a good toe off his teammate then, so maybe that's just enough to find that 0.04 of a second.
Previous was Mikkel Jensen, not enough.
No, it's not enough for him. They've taken the checkered flag. Dries van Tor, no improvement, takes the checkered flag. Kevin Estre pits the number 6 car. Fred Makavicki, 16th. What can he do?
Not much with 2 yellow sectors, not from 16th. He'd be struggling if he was 11th. So he's not going to make it. Harry Tinknell, he's not going to make it through either. 2 yellow sectors, the tyres have gone. So nobody on a better lap. So it looks like neither of the vans, Van der Linde or Van Tor. Tinknell, how close was that? 0.03 of a second. 34 thousandths away, Tinknell.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was yellow sectors for Harry, but remember, he had purple sectors and then aborted the lap. So he's on a very quick lap, but not quite enough. The tyre had gone away, and he didn't quite have enough in that final sector.
Antonio Fuoco, he's cruising. That's the 51 car going by him into the pits. He's going into the pits as well, so he's not going to complete the lap. So 50 does not get through. 2 of the Ferraris do though, 51 and 83. Both caddies through, and 1 each of, deep breath, Aston Martin, Peugeot, Toyota, Alpine and BMW. So 1 each missing out for Aston Martin, Peugeot, BMW, Toyota and Alpine. Two of the
Ferrari.
Yeah. And 1 Ferrari, the 50 Ferrari.
Yep, so 1 factory car in, 1 factory car out. In fact, exactly what you were describing we normally see in LMGT3 is this mix-up, and it's exactly what we got here. And by the way, the top 12 cars in that session, so including the top 2 cars that dropped out, within half a second.
So Cadillac, the only manufacturer to get 2 factory cars through. We've got 9 brands here. The 83 Ferrari is a Ferrari, but not as far as World Championship points are concerned. It's the privateer car. Yeah, that's normally what we see, that everybody's got pace enough, but not everybody gets it hooked up in the lap. But the best lap of all, half the Dane train, Marco Sorensen. That's impressive stuff. Okay, 54 thousandths, that's nearly double the gap at the top of LMGT3. That's a yawning chasm, but it's definitely not enough to guarantee that they're going to start on pole. And then look at the Alpine, 6, 7 and 8 were separated by about 0.04 of a second, those 3 cars as well. Outside the top 10, 007 Aston, the Peugeot, the BMW and the rest. But critically, the number 6 Porsche, last year's world champions, and they didn't go through, but 5 did.
It's a very split garage down here at Penske Porsche Motorsport, which is a very unusual thing for Porsche because normally it's one family, but Mathieu Jaminet brought in last second to the number 5. Your car making it through to Hyperpole, the sister car not. First off, how much of a breath of relief is it to make it through such a tight qualifying session?
Yeah, I think it's one of the tightest qualifying we've seen so far this year in WEC. Obviously, we were completely sure about the speeds in one lap. We've seen it's quite tricky to maximize everything. Unlikely, like the 6, it's not working in the Proton car. So, yeah, Julien did an amazing job with our crew to make it work. One more shot now at Hyperpole, so let's see where we end up.
We've seen most recently at Le Mans that qualifying is not the end-all be-all because you can still get to the lead of the race by the end of it. How cool would it be, though, to get pole for the 100th? That's a big deal.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice thing, I think, for Julien as well. I'm not sure he ever done a pole position in WEC, so I really hope can happen today. Obviously, it's not a 24 hours race, so the starting position is a little bit more crucial than in Le Mans. Also, with our car, maybe not the easiest to pass on the straight, so yeah, I think it's quite important to start up front.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yep, well, neatly done. Roger Penske there looking on amongst the brains trust at Porsche Penske Motorsport. It's all on the 5 if Porsche are going to do it. It's all on the 8. We've got an interesting message, though, Martin Haven, on our screens.
Yeah, slightly worrying that the 009 Aston Martin is being investigated for possible impeding at turn 9. Who was 11th? Which of the vans? That was the Peugeot Stoffel van Dorn. So 94 has not been pushed back yet.
So it's
and has fired up. So 009, well, okay, both caddies, well, one of the caddies is in. No, both caddies were in, weren't they? So they should both move. But that did look like lights were ablaze on both Peugeots.
Yeah, 009 and 8 were the 2 under investigation. For which way around, not clear from that message. So was it 009 potentially impeding the 8? 94 is being pushed back into the garage.
Well, Marco Sorensen on the radio telling the team he absolutely did not impede anybody. He went wide on one of his laps to give himself some space. But Marco Sorensen is walking away from the car. I think. Is that? Just seeing somebody. Who's that on 007? Or maybe it's the 007. That's Harry Tingle. Okay, so that's fine. That's not Marco Sorensen.
So who's it going to be? Julien Andlauer for Porsche, Sebastian Buemi for Cota, Alex Riberas for the 009 car. Are they going to switch drivers? Surely not.
I noticed before they went out on the last session.
Right, okay.
I don't know if it resets as they go across the line, but it went back to Alex before the last session. So
it's the first named driver in the lineup that shows on our timing screen. Well, let's catch up with the Aston Martin Harter Racing team. Bruce Ioannis with Harry Tincknell.
Harry, a great qualifying for the sister car, but the 007, you must be disappointed. You know that you were on a lap which was good enough to be right up there, and you had to abort. Can you explain?
Yeah, no, just locked up into turn 10 a little bit, but it's just finding it difficult this weekend to find the margins. Is so tight between being on the limit and just being slightly over it. But hopefully Marco can go out and do a great job now.
Excellent, and you have good hopes for the race, I hope?
Yeah, our race pace looks pretty strong, and raceability-wise, we should be good. We've had good straight-line speed all weekend, and I think we've been good through the traffic, so have to come through a little bit now. But yeah, I think no negatives to our package this weekend.
Good luck for the race. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
So Harry Tincknell, we talked a little earlier about drivers that show their emotions. You can see his disappointment there. And Harry making it clear, bit of a lock-up, bit of a mistake there from him.
It's kind of a
those
shame.
are the margins.
Kind of a shame that he bailed on the lap, though, because that might still have been a lap that was maybe not good enough to go to the top of the top 10, but it didn't have to. It only had to get him into the top 10. But again, we don't know how much time he lost, and the man in the cockpit.
Under 30 seconds to start Hyperpole for Hypercar.
And in the cockpit makes those decisions, and then he obviously hoped he would get another better lap. But that wasn't possible. So 10 minutes with 10 cars.
Hyperpole for hypercars will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start of Hypercar Hyperpole.
Japanese black kites circling overhead the circuit. Let's see if the Japanese black Toyota car number 8 of Ryo Hirakawa can make an impression here. He's the first man out on track. One each from Toyota, Aston Martin, BMW, Alpine, Ferrari and Peugeot factory teams. And 2 of the Cadillacs go through.
Plus, of course, the 83 Ferrari from AF Corsa, still in the hunt for the Drivers' Championship. And boy, would they like to take the extra point here.
That little lock-up from Robert Kubica, not exactly ideal way to start your warming-up cycle.
Because obviously coming off the first session, you feel like you know what the car's got, and then suddenly you're back onto another new set of tyres, although they've got a bit of heat from the brakes, etc. But yeah, it wouldn't be a good way to start your outlap. And I think finally the Aston's now just pulling out of the pits. They're using the same strategy as they had in the first part of qualifying, going out a bit later and getting their own space on the track.
As is the number 12 Cadillac of Alex Lynn. So we're just moments away from having all 10 cars out on track.
4 of this year's 6 poles have been earned by Ferraris. Each of the cars has had at least 1 pole, the 51 that leads the championship, a pole in Qatar and then in Imola. And the other 2 pole-sitting cars in Le Mans and in Sao Paulo, the number 12 Cadillac. There's an awful lot going on here. It's been a while since we've had a Toyota on pole position.
Well, they're going to be looking for headlines at home, most certainly, aren't they? And this is probably the easiest part of the weekend to do it. Are we going to see a push immediately? I think we possibly are here from Toyota. Got a catch me if you can effort. Hirakawa, the effective young gun of this squad.
Well, he was still weaving for heat in the tyres on the run down to turn 3. So it won't be his ultimate best.
Board here with Nobamba. 38.
Here you can see they've all worked out that it's only going to start coming right on the second push lap. And you can tell like the first one is like 10, 11 seconds off the pace. The next one's 5, 6 seconds off the pace. And then they get the confidence as they get towards the end of the sector 3 to be able to push that little bit harder as they start the flying lap on lap 2.
This Hyperpole came a little after we had you as a full-timer in the WEC, Darren, but give us an idea of just the difference in the pressure, the mindset of qualifying.
Well, it's everything, isn't it? It's all down to you at that point. The team's done everything they possibly can, giving you the best car that they possibly can as well, and it's down to you to put it all together and not make a mistake. You know, that's the key to it. And you know, when you go out there and you make a minor mistake and you lose a couple of positions, it's super frustrating because you know it's a chance that's been given away, sort of thing. So now we're starting to see the times coming down. Still 36 is 1:36, so we've got probably another 8 seconds to find on their lap times.
Yeah, they'll be a little lighter on fuel than they were in the big session, the 12-minute session, because they fueled them up for the whole 2 parts. You don't refuel in between, so they should in theory be quicker. They'll have as you said, a fresh set of tyres for Hyperpole.
At least for 009 there's no further investigation from first part of qualifying in terms of impeding. So
6 minutes to go in this session. It's as we see them on the screen now, which is great to hear and great to understand. Charles Malaysi is top of these times, but as Darren was saying a few moments ago, these are not yet the representative times, but they're coming and coming fast. Yeah. Don't leave your eyes from the screen, because it's going to get very, very liquid very, very quickly.
Yeah, this lap should be. You just saw Alex Lynn go purple in sector 2 and then it reverted back to green. That's because this man, Ryo Hirakawa, went even quicker again in sector 2 than last year's pole sitter here. So Alex Lynn currently fastest, but Hirakawa on target to be quicker than that. Lynn still at 1:34. We went into the 29s, against 28. So yeah, should be 5 seconds at least of an improvement before the end of this session. There's the extra 2 minutes in the previous session. There you go, there's 7/10 better. It's not 5 seconds. So will hopefully be his next push lap, which will be the real humdinger. 51 Antonio Giovinazzi. These are the championship leaders, the 51 Ferrari crew from 83. And they move up from 7th to 5th with that lap, the 51 car. Sheldon van der Linde, 20. This is the Shell liveried BMW car.
Yeah, WRT and BMW will be pleased we've got one car through. They've been despondent so far this week, but finally finding some pace.
9th fastest remains 9th fastest. So that's not a representative quick lap. It goes up to 6, beg your pardon. Charles Malaysia 3rd for Alpine. Could they be a factor?
Malaysia goes to the top with a 132. It's still not where we should be yet.
Alex Lynn might be a lot closer to that though. Again, somebody's gone quicker in Sector 2 than he managed. And again, that somebody's not really Hirakawa, it's actually Charles Malaysia. Lynn goes to the top of the pile. Malaysia is on a quicker lap. Hirakawa is on a quicker lap. What about Marco Sorensen? The Aston Martin has not yet set a purple sector time, but is still 4th fastest.
It's not going to be this time for Marco Sorensen. Here comes Ryo Hirakawa. What can he do? Second place, 1.5 seconds back. He can close that gap. Can he overhaul Alex Lynn?
Wow, 2 seconds quicker.
Now we're on it.
Into the 29s. Here we go. Earl Bamber. What's the caddy driver got? 3/10 quicker. We're into the 28s. What's Antonio Giovinazzi, the championship leader, got? And
Andlauer goes
second fastest. Giovinazzi goes second fastest ahead of Andlauer. Jenson Button watching 38ers. I was going to say, where's the Peugeot? What about the Aston Martin as well? What about Robert Kubica? Kubica's up to 6th. The Peugeot has gone second quickest with Mikkel Jensen.
41 thousandths per second behind Earl Bamber. Now it's on. Sheldon van der Linde goes 3rd ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi and Julian Andlauer. 3 minutes to go.
Now it is literally every car across the line improves its time. Milesi improves, but only to 7th. Kubica's having a bail on that one. Jensen's going very slowly. So they're trying to give their tyres 1 lap of breathing space before going again and hitting it hard. 9th to Ware for Alex Lynn, 9th to 1st.
Nice to 1st for last year's pole setter by 38 thousandths per second. It's a Cadillac Hertz Team Jota 1-2 from Peugeot, from BMW, from Ferrari. What about Earl Bamber? What's his response going to be?
Well, he's lost time in Sector 2. And his teammate Alex Lynn was purple in Sector 2.
We need to be looking at Bamber, we need to be looking at Antonio Giovinazzi as well, because he's on an absolute flying lap as well. It could be Ferrari at this point. 2 minutes to go.
Sorensen in the Aston just jumped up to 5th place. But Bamber, is that going to be enough to improve? I don't see it. It's a tiny margin though, 38 thousandths between the two of them. So that's not an improvement.
What about the Ferrari coming down towards the line for 51 car? Where's that going to end up?
3/10 back, so he stays in 6th. Bamber's just about got time for a slightly slower lap. Alex Lynn is knocking this out of the park. What does he know that others don't about getting speed out of this track? Because he produced it last year, and he's producing it again. Jenson Button watching with interest. Sebastian Bourdais was delighted in the garage. This could be another front row lockout for Cadillac.
Yeah,
that would be mighty impressive.
He's brought a rocket to a knife fight, hasn't he? This one, he's 3/10 up after Sector 2. 1:28.6 becomes what?
4/10 quicker, 1:28.2. Okay, that is the gauntlet thrown down. Here comes Earl Bamber's riposte. Again, not the fastest first sector in the 38.
But he's close here. This is going to be tight. He's under a 10th back after Sector 2.
Nobody else improving at the moment, with the exception maybe of Julian Andlauer. Ryo Hirakawa is on that breather lap, so is Mikkel Jensen. It's probably Sheldon van der Linde. Everybody trying to find one last lap.
Here comes Bamber down towards the line. What could this be?
Final 30 seconds of Hyperpole. It is currently Caddy 1-2. It remains Caddy 1-2, but the other 8 cars all have one more lap.
Watching Kubica as well. He's also on a fly. Here comes the Porsche. Crosses the line. That is no improvement for Julian Andlauer.
Was that Hirakawa peeling into the pit lane, or was he just going slower?
Here comes Giovinazzi.
Into the pits. Rio shakes his head. No pole here for Toyota. He's got everything he can out of it. Bamber, purple sector 1. Okay, It is on. It is properly on here. Alex Lynn versus Earl Bamber.
Also one to watch on this lap is going to be Marco Sorensen. Not quite on the ultimate pace, could make it up onto the second row of the grid.
That would be mighty impressive.
Kubica too. Improvement from him, but he's crossed the line and he will be no better than 10th. He'd be disappointed with that.
Only in Cota has one Aston Martin made it through into Hyperpole. That was Marco Sorensen. He started 9th there. Unless something very, very weird happens, he's going to be much better up the grid. This is an improvement on 5th.
He's on track here. It's within reach, feeding from the front row of the grid for Marco Sorensen.
He needs 0.08 of a second, less than 1/10, and he's up on his previous best in sector 1 and 2. Is this row 2 of the grid for Aston Martin and Marco Sorensen? He's 3rd fastest. That's sensational. Earl Bamber, purple sector 1, but how far off is he in sector 2?
300-second back from Earl Bamber, that effort from Marco Sorensen, mighty stuff.
He is not far off. Earl Bamber is only a fraction off the time of Marco Sorensen.
Bamber is that's end of the session for.
That's a shame. He's taken the checker.
Earl Bamber, yes. That's it, done. It is going to be Hyperpole again for Alex Lynn. 2 in a row here at Fuji. It's a Cadillac 1-2, the 12 from the 38.
And he takes the 100th pole in WEC history, and that is landmark.
He does love his pole position runs as Alex Lynn. and he will be elated with this, elated.
That is the 3rd pole for the number 12 Cadillac this season. Pole at Le Mans, pole in Sao Paulo.
And this Cadillac Hertz Team Cota program is beginning to come alight now, isn't it?
That's a staggering performance by Alex. 4/10 clear, and the rest of the top 10 covered by 6/10, just to show what a lap that was.
That's spot on.
Yep.
Yep, you're absolutely right. The whole, everybody from Earl Bamber down to Robert Kubica, 6/10, and he's almost 4.5 up on that. That's an astounding performance.
And the gap back between Earl Bamber 0.439 back, in 3rd Marco Sorensen 0.469 back, and 11 thousandths slower than him, Mikkel Jensen in the Peugeot. 2nd, 3rd and 4th was the proverbial pocket handkerchief. 38, mighty 38 from Cadillac, 2nd on the grid. Let's hear from Earl Bamber, his teammate Jenson Button.
I don't know what was more amusing during that qualifying session, watching the cars chipping away at the time or watching Jenson Button chip away at your fingernails. How nerve-wracking was that?
It was awesome. It's funny, actually. When you're in the car, you're less nervous than when you're watching. But what an amazing job by both of them. You know, we've had a few 1-2s this year in qualifying, but I think this is the one that's more surprising. It's been so close all weekend in terms of lap times for the top 10. So, yeah, very, very impressive by both of them.
Do you have a car that can keep it up front tomorrow?
I think so. You know, we've been chipping away at the balance all weekend, and Friday was tricky, I think, for everyone. Very low grip, lots of sliding around. So we've tweaked the car through the weekend, and it's getting there, but a little bit more work needed. But, yeah, just proud of the whole team. What an amazing year they've had on a Saturday. Sometimes we've turned it into a good one on Sunday as well. So, no, I'm really, really looking forward to tomorrow.
Fantastic job by all of Cadillac Hertz Team Cota.
Darren, good moment to come to you. There's a great insight into some of the chemistry, the rivalry and the camaraderie at the same time within a team. What's that like when you've got your team car in contention for something like this?
You need it, absolutely you need it. You need that sort of energy within the team. But if the team principal has chosen the right drivers, then you're all sort of gaining off each other in a positive way. Yep. You only need one driver in there to mix it all up and cause friction. But I think most of these teams, they've got a good lineup. They've got people that are all complementary to each other, and that just really helps everyone move forward.
Cadillac, Aston Martin, Tour Team Valkyrie, the Peugeot, BMW, Ferrari, Porsche, Cota, Alpine, and of course a Ferrari. They're your top 10.
Well, an amazing qualifying session in Hypercar, but also in GT3, where we had a lot of emotion for a second pole position for you after the pole position in Brazil. We're going to start with you, Anthony. How do you feel? How was it from like outside of the car watching Mr. Barrichello doing pole again?
Honestly, it was pretty surreal. It was a wonderful experience. I'm always very nervous when I'm outside the car watching my other co-drivers. When I'm in the car, I'm super calm. And if we're fighting per position, it's not a big deal. But when you're outside and you watch and it's coming down to tenths and you're like, it's pretty wild and crazy. So I'm thankful for the opportunity, and these guys are legends, so hats off to them.
Excellent. And it's an all-in-all Aston Martin, very competitive this weekend because the two cars are up there. Congratulations, an amazing lap. Take us through your lap and how do you feel?
Yeah, well, first off, I think everybody from the team did such an amazing job. All the mechs, the engineers, everybody. Tony as well for doing such a good lap and putting myself to Hyperpole again. And yeah, I had a very good car under me. It was very fun to drive as well. And I could put a decent lap together, and it was enough for pole position. So I'm really happy for that.
It's more than decent. Another person who's super emotional, and we can see it in his eyes, is your father. How was he after the end of the qualifying?
Yeah, of course he's very happy. You know, he's very supportive as well. So I'm really thankful and grateful to have him by my side. And yeah, it was good to have him again.
Yeah, it's great. It was great to see. Congratulations. Valentin, you're also a big part of the Aston Martin family, and the input of your three is very important. How do you feel confident for tomorrow?
It's a 2 for 2 for this lineup. We showed up in Brazil with a new lineup, and yeah, 2 out of 2. Unexpected this morning. We struggled quite a lot since yesterday, but we kept on working. And I told them this morning we're going to get on pole, and somehow they made it. So I'm really proud of my teammates and my team. So
you should tell them that you're going to win tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the plan now. That's the plan. Sake!
Sake. Thank you so much. And now it's time to receive the first trophies of the weekend that are going to be presented to you by Jörg Auenhammer, who's president of Rolex Japan. So first for Anthony McIntosh, who was extremely nervous, but who can be now really proud of this first beautiful medal presented by Rolex. And finally for Valentin Asclot. And now, gentlemen, I would invite you to step well over there for the family picture to make sure that this moment stays engraved. And the poleman is being carried, and it's actually not quite over yet because we have another surprise coming up. We've got a special trophy. Eduardo, can you please follow me? We're going to move forward. We have a little present for you, actually a present for the pole sitter of this special race, because this is race 100 of the WEC. And there is another trophy that's going to be handed to you here on the right, which is a helmet specially decorated for the occasion. 2 colors, blue and gold. And it's our president, Mr. Fillon, who's going to hand you that beautiful trophy. It's been ceremony because we're only halfway with, if I can carry on here, with the poleman Alex Lynn with a big smile. You're excelling in that exercise of putting the car to the limit. A big smile. It was super tight because Earl posted a purple sector on his last attempt, but you're up there 38 hundredths ahead on pole again. Congratulations.
No, thank you. Honestly, it was a great feeling. The car was amazing, and yeah, we did the job. Honestly, I love this kind of scenario, the qualifying, and yeah, the car's just amazing right now.
Excellent. Will, a little word from you. Big smiles. What are you? What's the strategy for tomorrow?
The strategy is to win. Obviously, we know qualifying is definitely one of our strong points. Alex is doing such a good job for us to always put us in a good starting position. but obviously a long race ahead. But hopefully we can keep the lead at the start and then put our strategy to plan.
Are you starting the race tomorrow?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah.
Okay, good luck then. Thank you, Will. Norman, again on pole position. You've got an amazing teammate and you've got an amazing crew. So what are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Well, as you say, like the race win, obviously, like as you say, like so far, like we've been trying to build the team because, you know, like at the end we're a new team, all three together, but also Cota and Cadillac. So, yeah, as you say, like we are doing really well in this exercise, and step by step as well in terms of race pace, we're improving as we could see in Sao Paulo. So tomorrow, definitely starting from this position, we want to fight for the win or for big points at least, because now we are getting closer to the end of the season and we're still playing for good things at the championship. So yeah, we're going to push more.
Well, good luck then. But now it's time for the first trophies of the weekend, which are those medals, again, presented by Rolex Japan's president, Jörg Owenhammer. And first, it goes to Will Stevens. That's a first step into the weekend. Pole position is so important, especially here around Fuji when turn one is quite tricky, especially on cold tires. So it's a great start of the weekend to get a first trophy. Gentlemen, please look over there for the picture. Big smiles. Making sure you'll keep that memory. And it's not over yet. Alex, I need you to come with me. You've been on pole quite a few times now this season, but today we have a special trophy for you. So please come over. It's a racing helmet, which is cool, but this one is actually super cool. For the race number 100, position in the WEC since 2012. So that's a really cool present. And please, Mr. Fillon, it's your turn. A very well-deserved trophy, beautiful helmet, featuring the gold for winner or pole position and WEC blue. Well, and that's it for today. We're going to be racing live tomorrow, starting at 11 local time, which will be 4 a.m. CET. Make sure you have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee to be with us. Make sure you tune up, and to watch us the easiest way, download the app WEC TV, and you'll be live with us tomorrow. Bye for now. Thank you for watching.